Dear followers, first of all, we wish you a healthy day. I'm Okan Cüntay, General Manager of ABS. This week, we decided to present you our newsletter in a video format. However, we still have the written format below. If you remember, for the past weeks, we've been preparing special informative bulletins in addition to our regular monthly references. In our first bulletin, we looked at how the disposable formworks have a very high load-bearing capacity with just very little concrete and steel. In our second bulletin, we examined our advantages compared to conventional indoor filling materials. You may find the links to these past bulletins below in the email body. This week, we would like to tell you about another application that we encounter very often, namely landscape fillings. These days, many housing projects are designed with living and social areas connected to each other, and landscape areas make most of these common social areas. Of course, if these projects are in crowded big cities, artificial green areas are almost a must, since there's just no space for natural green habitats. This kind of green areas can only be created on the terraces, above the parking lots, or in the podium areas between towers. Now, I would like to give you some very practical information. The types of plants differ according to the soil thickness in such landscape areas. Generally, grass requires a minimum thickness of 20 centimeters of soil. Many bush types are okay with 40 centimeters soil, and short tree kinds require 80 centimeters of soil. Of course, 80 centimeters soil with irrigation water creates a very serious weight problem to the main structure. Hence, the tree areas are either made higher than the other areas in reinforced concrete containers, or the trees are grown in giant decorative pots. What we see as ABS from the construction sites in general is that these land filling areas are on average 40 to 60 centimeters high. So what is the function of disposable formworks in such landscape areas? Well, disposable formworks are very useful in the construction of concrete surfaces, which are also called hard surface landscaping. For example, let's assume two residential towers with a podium area in between and a parking space area below the podium area. So in this podium, in addition to all the green fields, there must be structures that require concrete surfaces, such as walkways, children's playground, or pergolas between the towers. All of these concrete surfaces can be constructed easily with ABS disposable formworks. As we explained earlier, disposable formworks are there to construct a reinforced concrete raised floor. As you can see in the picture, we're just there to shape the concrete. Since these structures will be basically hollow, void inside, first, a very serious weight saving is provided. Second, these void spaces can be used for passing irrigation pipes or garden illumination cables. The load-bearing capacity of this type of reinforced concrete raised floor will also be very high, as we explained in our earlier bulletins, and there will be no risk of structural cracking in time. Now, in addition to all of these advantages, which are pretty much standard in every application, perhaps the most important feature of using disposable formworks in landscaping areas is that the reinforced concrete structure constructed with our products will not prevent the flow of drainage water. Technically, in such a podium area, the drainage water flow direction and the floor gutters should be planned very carefully. Ideally, all slopes, regardless of the structures on top of the area, should be adjusted in an architecturally appropriate way to the large main structure. The most standard layers that we encounter in our experience in these type of application are as follows. First of all, there's a slope concrete on top of the structural slab. Then water insulation comes on top of that slope concrete, and water insulation could be a membrane or a paint-like water membrane. Then a layer of vapor barrier and heat insulation of hard polyurethane foam comes on top of the water membrane, water insulation. Finally, a 5 centimeter top protective concrete layer covers it all. Of course, as I said, this is a section we encounter most often. In some projects, we've also seen that the thermal insulation is laid flat on the structural slab, or we've witnessed also that a textile sheet is used instead of the protective concrete cover without any thermal insulation in between. It just depends on the project, on the location, or on preferences, depends on the country at most. In any case, bubble drainage sheets are placed on top of the protective concrete, and finally, soil for the plants on top of these drainage sheets. At this stage, disposable formworks are also placed on top of the protective concrete layer, just like the drainage sheets. The trick lies within the construction of parapets that will close the sides of the disposable formworks. While the parapets are being built on top of the protective concrete, they should either be casted on top of the drainage sheet so that half of the parapet will pass the drainage water and the other half will press firmly on the ground with full concrete, or just leave a drainage hole every 30 to 40 centimeters in the parapet. Finally, I would like to talk about another discussion that we always encounter. Can we place the disposable formworks directly on the floor slab and then apply the slope and all the other layers? Yes, of course, it can be done. But then the reinforced concrete raised floor done with the disposable formworks has to be regarded as a structural element. What I mean by that, it should be fixed to the main structure on the surrounding shear walls so that they move together under horizontal forces. Once the existing floor is raised, then the standard layers I've just mentioned can be applied on top of it easily. I hope that you enjoyed our bulletin and that all of this information will be useful for you. You can always write at us at info@absyapı.com.tr, or you can check our website at disposableformworks.com for all the technical data and more references and different applications of our products. See you next week, hopefully, and we wish you healthy days. Thank you very much.